Now, this commission was interesting because the character, their anatomy is so close. It's one of those times where I have to really keep my my discipline in check because the character is really close to being human. Well, they have a lot of human features, and so when I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, does it happen as? But um, but looking at the other bits of the reference, I was like, oh, it's how that creature is. And so, so with this, I approached it, how would that alien species, what did they find sexy? Because he has like, he has these big ass legs, and my discipline is like, no, you have to, no, it's human. But my mind, I'm like, no, discipline, it's not human, it's an alien. And I have to keep reminding myself that because it's one of those things where it's like it's in between to me, where it's the alien type, but um, it's human-ish. Um, but no matter what, it's gonna look weird if you didn't know that it was the alien. So as long as the client thinks it looks good, then I'm good. And as long as I know how the character is and it looks right based on that character's anatomy, then it's good. So I was like, damn. Well, I really do like the character's facial structure. Um, I really liked that, and you can see in the ear, the ears have these little things to it, and I forgot it after a while, but I add them later. And here you can see me see the character's legs are really like apart. They're not human, and their torso is short. So usually I to make it fit, I usually do the make it human-ish. But I decided to see if I could keep it. Well, I mean, they did have semi-feedback ring, so I had to keep it anyway. But it was just a practice of working with an anatomy that isn't human, but making it look right. In that, um, like, if you didn't know how the character's anatomy was, um, like, I would think the legs were too big or too far apart. But but it was interesting to try to keep to make it work and to make it like keep up with the alien anatomy and make it fit that like if I was to see it in person it will match. Actually the foot is too small, but I changed that later. And so I was thinking this one kind of it was like a story in my head. Okay, so how would this creature do in a strip club? Like what do they find sexy? Like is it the huge legs? It's like, damn baby, look at them legs. It's like they're ginormous. Or is it considered big to them? Or are they like, damn, she's so dainty? Or they're so dainty. Like, I like that. And they're like throwing whatever currency they have at them. Just like all whistles. And cause looking at the rep, I was like, dang, they have no ass. They just have the stubs like for human it would be weird, but for them they'd be like So I didn't know much. I don't know much about the characters. So in my head, I'm like, uh, they're hot shit. Like, like they're the hotness. They're like basically a brick house, and like they're a dime piece. They're a 10. And so at the club, he's like, in my head, they're like the favorite. So and so in my head, they like the legs, and so that's what made me pick this position, cause I was like showing off the legs. Maybe that's like sexy for them, and so I should be changing that foot soon, cause the feet are very large compared to human, and it I think it still could have been tweaked, um, like the upper leg, that probably could have been bigger, and even after fixing the leg closest to us, that could have been bigger. No, when I change it, it looks a bit more like it fits the anatomy. But going to the other leg, and I probably could have made that bigger. Um, so oh, and the character also had two different colorings, and I mean, like I guess they were saying like the old one and the new one, and letting me pick. And I do appreciate when clients want me to pick, but at the same time, my perfectionism comes out, and I'm like, no, but which one do you want? Like, which one do you rather see? Um, and it's hard to gauge that, so I don't even mention it like most of the time. But yeah, I am because I want the client to be happy, and I could get kind of obsessive with it, and that's partly why my setup is the way it is, because I know uh, I want to do exactly what they want, but then at the same time, I'm like, I can't exactly do, like, have them micromanage and such, because this is sketch. So so that's, I have to find a compromise with that, and that's how why my services are the way they are. And with the in terms of the client giving me a choice, it's great sometimes, um, but it was okay this time. I just chose the top one, because the thankfully the anatomy was similar in both. It was just the coloring, but I like the purplish, um, the what pastel ish color of the top one. So I went with that. And God, when do I change that foot? And so I kept to make sure because through the years, by going so fast, by trying to speed up and make these type of sketches, like the stream and overnight, go fast. I think I've just like disciplined myself to um, know the human anatomy, and it's not perfect, and I'm glad it's not perfect actually, but it gets by, like it fits. I always say, if someone asks about anatomy, I always say it's not correct, it just seems correct, which is actually what I'm going for, because there's no such thing as completely perfect anatomy, even in real life. I mean, it just looks right or it doesn't, and even sometimes in life, shit doesn't look right. You're like, how the fuck? But it is what it is. So that's why I I try to perfect that because I do love that how it's not always perfect. And where was I going with this? Oh, so so in terms of characters where their anatomy is close to human but not, sometimes it's just a matter of that it's either the person's style in the ref, or it's just wrong anatomy, or it's it works as that creature's anatomy. And in terms of this, it's alien. So um, I kept imagining how would their world be, like what gravity or conditions would warrant like huge legs, and how would they walk. And I guess they could walk, and but would their gravity be really heavy or light? And I sometimes I think of the extra details just because I like to figure things out. I like things to make sense, and it's actually pretty easy for me to be like, okay, I can see that happening. But sometimes I can't. This was like a middle ground. Like I could, but then at the same time, I'm like, would it? Like, how would it work? So I was like trying to figure out how it would work exactly. And you see, it still looks like the legs are too big, but that's so instead of being in the angle in the dynamic piece, um, that's another reason why I didn't. I wanted to be a bit dynamic too, um, but with the legs being as big as they were, I think that'll just throw off the whole piece to me. Even though I do know the anatomy, I would still look at it and be like, no, but that's too. So this one, I tried to be. It's not as well, I guess the position is a bit dynamic. You could see in like the hand at the bottom, but so I didn't want to do too extreme. Otherwise, I'll lose the clarification. Well, that's what I'm saying. The clarification of how his their anatomy is, and I didn't want to lose that. I wanted to work with that and see just how it would look. And it did okay. Because again, like I mentioned, I have to remember uh, as long as me and the client knows, then it's all good. Um, the no ass thing amuses me. Because, oh, there he is, finally. I did the foot. So, yeah. So that foot closest to us is more um, just up to the side. It's not too big. Ah, see, I love the guys. His face. Their face. Keep saying he. Because the facial structure is masculine. I think that's why I keep saying. But I'm not sure. I can't remember what the ref said. I wasn't paying attention to I usually don't pay attention to text. It's just all visual for these things. And I almost forgot the scarves, but thankfully I kept looking back at the order to make sure I got everything. I do like the underwear I gave them. And another sparkly underwear. I'm addicted to those for this series. Like like a few others have the sparkly underwear. And and I worked that into it too. See how I figured since the legs were so far apart, it could work even better, like the sparkliness. Like it wouldn't like put a rash on them or anything like that. And I figured with the legs so far apart, it would be like that would be a good like sexy underwear, hopefully for them, for their species. And Oh, I love the guy's lips. I just like his facial structure, and I like his eyes. Um, but you see, I didn't the little the pink freckleish. I think it was fluorescent um, highlights they said in the reference, but you see here it doesn't show too well, and so after I was done recording, I went back and I added it a bit over it so it could stand out a bit more with the light. Um, and you can see how I tried to add more of the I don't know, what would you see? You can see the pinkish now, and I think that's better. But yeah, interesting to try and make it work, and I think it looked good. I hope the client does think so too.